If you would do me the honor.
Oh, God.
Will you please marry me?
I asked you to hold off and wait so she could prove herself. And then you just go walk up and pull this little sneak.
Forest drops to one knee, his hands shaking so hard the ring nearly slips from his fingers. And in that split second, the world seems to freeze. Sheena's eyes go wide, her breath caught somewhere between hope and disbelief, while Molly, standing just a few feet away, turns a shade of red. That could stop traffic. The words tumble out of Forrest's mouth, not smooth or practiced, but raw and desperate, and for a moment, nobody moves, nobody speaks. Not even the birds outside dare to interrupt this collision of love and fear. Sheena's lips part, but no sound comes out, and you can almost see the memories flickering behind her eyes, every promise broken, every time she's been let down, every warning Molly has whispered in Forrest's ear. Then, as if on cue, Molly's voice slices through the silence, sharp and trembling, demanding to know if this is some kind of joke, if her son has lost his mind, if Sheena has finally pulled off the con she's always suspected. The tension in the room is thick enough to choke on, and Forrest's face is a study in panic, his eyes darting between the two women he loves, caught in a storm he never wanted to create. Welcome to 90 Day Scoopas. I'm Oliva, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and drop your wildest theory in the comments. Because tonight, we're not just watching a proposal, we're watching a family detonate in real time. Forrest's voice cracks as he tries to explain. But Molly isn't listening. Her hands clench so tight her knuckles are white. Her words coming faster, louder, each accusation landing like a slap. Sheena stands frozen, her smile faltering, and you can see the calculation in her eyes. Should she defend herself? Or will that only make things worse? The air is electric, every second stretching out, and you know this isn't the first time Molly has tried to pull Forrest back from the edge. Flashback to last week when Molly cornered Forrest in the kitchen, her voice low and urgent, warning him that Sheena was hiding something, that she'd seen the way Sheena looked at her phone, the way she avoided certain questions, the way she always seemed to have an answer ready, too ready. Forrest brushed it off then, but now, with Molly's suspicions boiling over and Sheena's secrets hanging in the air, he's not so sure. Sheena's hands tremble as she reaches for the ring, her eyes flicking to Molly, searching for some sign of acceptance, but finding only suspicion. Forrest tries to steady himself, but his mind is racing. What if Molly's right? What if he's making the biggest mistake of his life? What if Sheena's yes is just another lie? The room feels smaller, the walls closing in, and every word spoken seems to echo with the weight of everything left unsaid. Molly's anger isn't just about the proposal, it's about years of feeling shut out, of watching her son slip away, of fearing that she's losing him to someone she can't control. Sheena, for her part, is fighting her own battle, her past traumas bubbling up, her fear of abandonment clashing with her hope for a future with Forrest. And yet, even as the chaos swirls, there's a moment, a heartbeat, where Forrest and Sheena lock eyes. And you see something real, something raw, something that makes you wonder if love can survive this kind of pressure. But then, Molly's voice rises again, demanding answers, demanding loyalty, and the spell is broken. What did Molly see that made her so sure Sheena's hiding something? Why does Forrest look so nervous, even after Sheena says yes? The questions hang in the air, unanswered, as the camera lingers on Forrest's trembling hands and Sheena's tearful smile. And you can't help but wonder what secrets are still waiting to explode. Forrest tries to shake off the chaos from last night as he and Sheena step into the Venice Mall. But the air feels heavy, like Molly's eyes are still on them even from miles away. The mall is supposed to be romantic, with its fake canals and gondolas, but Forrest can't relax. Not when every laugh feels forced and every smile is shadowed by the memory of Molly's accusations. He watches Sheena twirl in her red dress, her laughter echoing off the marble, and wonders if this is what happiness is supposed to look like, or if they're both just playing parts in a show for someone who isn't even here. He catches himself glancing over his shoulder, half expecting to see Molly lurking behind a potted plant, phone in hand, ready to pounce with another warning or a fresh list of suspicions. Sheena tries to pull him into the moment, pointing out the gondolas and the painted sky, but Forrest's mind keeps drifting. Is he here because he loves her, or because he's desperate to prove something to his mom? He wants to believe in this day, in this woman, but the doubts keep creeping in, whispering that maybe Molly's right, maybe there's something he's missing. Sheena senses his distance, and after a long pause, she opens up about her past, her voice soft and shaky. She tells him about the ex who cheated, about the promises that turned to dust, about the nights she cried herself to sleep wondering what she did wrong. Forrest listens, his heart aching for her. But he can't shake the feeling that there's more she isn't saying, that her story has chapters she's not ready to share. His phone buzzes, and it's Molly, again. A string of texts, each one more frantic than the last, warning him not to let his guard down, reminding him of every red flag she's ever spotted. Forrest tries to ignore it, but the words burrow into his brain, making it impossible to focus on Sheena's smile or the way her hand fits in his. He wonders if he'll ever be able to separate his own feelings from his mom's voice in his head, if he'll ever know what's real and what's just fear. Sheena squeezes his hand, searching his face for reassurance, but he can't give her what she needs, not when he's still searching for answers himself. Sheena wipes away a tear and promises she'll never lie to him again, but her eyes flicker, and Forrest catches it. A hesitation. A secret she's not ready to share. The day ends with them floating down the fake canal, surrounded by beauty but weighed down by doubt. And Forrest can't help but wonder what Sheena is still hiding, and if he'll ever be brave enough to ask. Molly waits until Forrest and Sheena return, her posture stiff, her jaw set, and the moment Forrest steps through the door she pounces, her voice trembling but her words sharp enough to draw blood. She doesn't yell, not at first, she doesn't need to. Every sentence is a test, every question a trap, and Forrest feels himself shrinking. Old instincts kicking in as he tries to explain, to justify, to make her see that he's not a child anymore. But Molly's not interested in explanations. She wants obedience, and she's not afraid to use guilt as her weapon. She reminds Forrest of every sacrifice she's made, every warning he's ignored, every time he's chosen someone else over her. The room feels colder, the walls closer, and Forrest's voice falters as he tries to push back, to claim a little space for himself, but Molly's disappointment is a force he's never learned to resist. Sheena steps in, her voice steady but her hands shaking, trying to defend herself without sounding defensive, trying to explain that she loves Forrest, that she's not here to take him away from his family. But Molly twists every word, turning Sheena's promises into threats, her reassurances into accusations. She asks pointed questions about Sheena's past, about her family, about the money she sends home. And when Sheena hesitates, Molly pounces, her suspicion growing with every pause. Forrest watches helplessly, torn between the woman he loves and the mother he's never been able to disappoint, and the pressure builds until he feels like he might break. Why does Molly need to control Forrest so badly? Maybe it's fear. Fear of being left behind, fear of losing the only person who's ever truly needed her, fear that if she lets go, she'll have nothing left. Or maybe it's pride, the belief that only she knows what's best, that only she can protect Forrest from the world's dangers, even if it means hurting him in the process. Whatever the reason, her grip is suffocating, and Forrest knows that sooner or later, he'll have to make a choice. Will he stand up for himself and risk losing his mother? Or will he keep playing the dutiful son and lose Sheena instead? Laura sits beside Biren on a boat gliding across the water, the sun setting in a way that should make everything feel magical, but her mind is miles away, tangled in doubts she can't shake. Biren talks about the future, his words warm and hopeful, but Laura's smile is thin, her eyes drifting to her phone every few minutes as if she's waiting for a sign. She laughs at his jokes, nods at his plans, but inside, she's replaying every conversation, every red flag, every moment that didn't quite add up. When Bjorn steps away to take a call, Laura's fingers move fast, dialing Michael, her so-called best friend, the one who always picks up, the one who never hides how he feels about her. Michael's voice is soft but urgent, and before Laura can even finish her hello, he's warning her again about Bjorn's gambling, about the debt that keeps growing, about the risks she's taking with her heart and her future. He says he's worried, that he's only looking out for her, but Laura hears something else in his voice. A jealousy he tries to hide. A hope that maybe, just maybe, she'll finally listen and come home. She wants to believe Michael is being honest, that his concern is real. But she can't ignore the way he always finds a reason to criticize Bjorn, the way his advice always seems to end with her leaving and coming back to him. Laura's torn, her heart pulling her one way, her head another. She remembers the way Bjorn looks at her, the way he tries to make her feel safe, but she also remembers the late-night confessions about money lost, the promises to change, the fear in his eyes when she asks too many questions. Michael offers her a way out, a chance to start over. But is it what she wants, or just what he wants for her? The boat drifts, the sky darkens, and Laura feels the weight of the decision pressing down on her. Michael asks if he should come visit, to see things for himself, to make sure she's okay, and Laura hesitates, caught between loyalty and longing, between the life she has and the life she might want. Sheena sits alone in the quiet of the apartment, her phone clutched tight, scrolling through messages from home that never seem to stop. Each one is a reminder of the weight she carries, the family that depends on her, the bills that never end, the silent expectation that she'll always find a way to send something back. She feels the guilt settle in her chest, heavy and familiar, and wonders how long she can keep this part of her life hidden from Forest. She wants to believe that love is enough, that Forest will understand, but every time she tries to bring it up, she sees the worry in his eyes, the shadow of Molly's warnings hanging over them both. Sheena's fear isn't just about money. It's about losing the one person who makes her feel seen, the one person who promised he'd never leave, even when the world turned its back. Forest paces the hallway, replaying every conversation, every moment that didn't quite fit, every time Sheena changed the subject or brushed off a question about her family. He wants to trust her, wants to believe that what they have is real, but Molly's voice is always there, whispering doubts, reminding him of every story he's heard about people getting used, about love turning into regret. He remembers the promises he made to Sheena, the nights he held her while she cried about her past, the way he swore he'd never hurt her like the others did. But now, with secrets piling up and trust wearing thin, he wonders if he's the one being played, if he's the one who's about to get his heart broken. Sheena flashes back to the worst night of her life, the night she found out her last partner had someone else, the night she realized she'd been lied to for months. The pain still lingers, sharp and raw, and she promised herself she'd never let anyone get that close again. But Forrest broke through her walls, made her believe in second chances, made her hope for something better. Now, with everything on the line, she's terrified that telling the truth will ruin everything, that Forrest will see her as a burden, not a partner, that he'll walk away just like everyone else. The stakes have never been higher. If Sheena's secret comes out, will Forrest stand by her, or will he listen to Molly and walk away? The answer could change everything, not just for them, but for everyone caught in the crossfire. Forrest stands in the doorway, his voice barely above a whisper as he tells Molly and Dev about the proposal, the words hanging in the air like a challenge he's not sure he's ready to face. Molly's reaction is instant and volcanic. Her face twists, her voice rises, and she launches into a barrage of accusations that sting more than Forrest expected. She calls the engagement a betrayal, a slap in the face after everything she's done, and her words are laced with guilt, each one designed to make Forrest question his own happiness. Dev tries to calm her, but Molly is relentless, her anger spilling over into threats. If Forrest goes through with this, she'll leave. She'll cut him off. She'll never forgive him for choosing Sheena over his own family. Sheena sits on the edge of the couch, silent tears streaming down her face, her hands clenched in her lap as she tries to hold herself together. She wants to comfort Forest, to tell him it will be okay, but she knows that anything she says will only make things worse. Forest's hands shake as he tries to defend their decision, but the words come out jumbled, his confidence crumbling under the weight of Molly's disappointment. He looks at Sheena, searching for strength, but all he sees is fear. Fear that this moment will be the one that breaks them, that no matter how hard they try, they'll never be enough for Molly. Why does this moment hurt so much? Maybe it's because Forest has spent his whole life trying to make his mother proud, trying to live up to her expectations, and now, for the first time, he's choosing himself, and it feels like a betrayal. Maybe it's because Sheena knows what it's like to be the outsider, to be the one blamed for someone else's pain, and she can't help but wonder if she's worth all this trouble. Or maybe it's because deep down, they both know that love shouldn't have to be this hard, that happiness shouldn't come with so many strings attached. Molly storms out, slamming the door behind her, and the silence that follows is deafening. Forest and Sheena are left alone, the future suddenly uncertain. The engagement ring feeling heavier than ever. Will Molly find a way to sabotage their happiness, or will Forest finally break free from her grip? If you think this family can't fracture any further, stay tuned, because the next move could tear them apart for good, or force them to finally face the truth about what they're willing to risk for love. Michael's voice comes through the phone, steady but urgent, as he tells Laura he's ready to book a flight and see her in person, insisting it's only because he's worried about her safety. He says he can't sleep at night knowing she's with someone who hides things, who gambles, who might not have her best interests at heart. Laura listens, her heart pounding, torn between gratitude and suspicion. She's always trusted Michael, leaned on him when things got hard, but now his concern feels suffocating, almost possessive. Is he really worried about her? Or is he trying to wedge himself between her and Bjorn, hoping she'll choose him instead? She tries to explain that things aren't as simple as Michael thinks, that Bjorn has good sides too, that she's not some damsel in distress waiting to be rescued. But Michael doesn't back down. He tells her he's already looking at flights, that he'll be there in days if she says the word, and Laura feels the pressure mounting. She wonders if she's being ungrateful, if she should be thankful someone cares this much. But deep down, she can't shake the feeling that Michael's help comes with strings attached. When Laura finally tells Bjorn about Michael's offer, his reaction is instant and raw. His eyes narrow, his jaw tightens, and he asks why her friend is so invested in their relationship. There's anger there, but also fear. A fear that Laura might listen, that she might let Michael in, that she might start to see Bjorn the way Michael does. Bjorn tries to laugh it off, but Laura can see the desperation in his eyes. The way he clings to her hand a little tighter, the way he asks if she trusts him or if she's already made up her mind. It's a fine line between caring and control, and Laura feels herself walking it with every conversation. She wants to believe Michael is only looking out for her, but she can't ignore the way his concern feels like a cage, the way his love feels like a test she's doomed to fail. She wonders if letting him visit would bring clarity or chaos, if it would help her see the truth or only make things worse. If you think Laura's about to make the safe choice, think again, because the next decision she makes could change everything, and the fallout will leave no one untouched. Forrest stands in the living room, his voice louder than he ever thought possible, as he finally faces Molly head-on. Sheena stands beside him, her own voice trembling but determined, refusing to shrink away this time. Molly fires back with every old grievance, every slight she's ever felt, her words sharp and relentless. She accuses Sheena of stealing her son, of breaking up their family, of manipulating Forrest into turning his back on everything he's ever known. Forrest tries to explain, tries to make Molly see that he's not a child anymore, that he deserves to make his own choices. But Molly won't hear it. The argument spirals, voices overlapping, pain from years ago resurfacing as if it happened yesterday. Sheena's hands shake, but she doesn't back down, telling Molly that love isn't a competition, that Forrest's happiness shouldn't come at the cost of his freedom. Across town, Laura sits across from Bjorn, Her phone on the table between them, Michael's messages still lighting up the screen. She tells Biren about Michael's offer to visit, about the doubts swirling in her mind, about the pressure she feels from both sides. Biren's face hardens, his trust in Laura suddenly on shaky ground. He asks if she believes Michael over him, if she's willing to let someone else decide what's best for their relationship. Laura's voice cracks as she admits she doesn't know what to believe anymore, that she's tired of feeling pulled in every direction, that she wants to trust Biren, but can't ignore the warnings in her head. Both couples find themselves at a crossroads, forced to choose between the people they love and the outsiders who refuse to let go. Forest looks at Sheena, then at Molly, knowing that whatever he decides, someone will be hurt. Laura looks at Biren, her heart aching with the weight of her indecision, wondering if she's about to lose everything or finally find the clarity she's been searching for. The cost of independence is steep, old bonds broken, new wounds opened, and the risk that standing up for yourself might mean standing alone. Who will back down first? Will Forrest cave to his mother's demands, or will he finally put his own happiness first? Will Laura let Michael visit, or will she draw a line and fight for her relationship with Biren? If you think the hardest choices have already been made, you're in for a shock, because the next move will test every loyalty, and not everyone will survive the fallout with their heart intact. Forrest stands in the hallway, the echo of Molly's words still ringing in his ears, but for the first time, he doesn't flinch. He looks at Sheena, sees the fear and hope in her eyes, and realizes he's tired of living in the shadow of someone else's expectations. With a shaky breath, he tells Molly he's choosing Sheena, not because he wants to hurt his mother, but because he finally wants to live his own life. Molly's face falls, her anger replaced by a stunned silence, and for a moment, it seems like the whole world is holding its breath. Sheena's relief is immediate, tears streaming down her face as she clings to Forrest, but the victory is bittersweet. Molly turns away, her pride wounded, her love now a weapon she's not sure how to put down. Meanwhile, Laura sits across from Biren, her phone buzzing with another message from Michael. She stares at the screen, her mind racing, and finally sets the phone aside. She tells Biren she's not letting Michael visit, that she needs to figure things out on her own, that their relationship deserves a chance without outside interference. Biren's shoulders relax, a small smile breaking through his worry, and for the first time in days, Laura feels like she's made a choice for herself, not for anyone else. But just as the dust starts to settle, an unexpected twist throws everything into chaos. Forrest receives a message from an old friend, someone he hasn't spoken to in years, revealing a secret from his past that he thought was long buried. The message hints at a mistake Forrest made before he ever met Sheena, something that could change how she sees him, something that could give Molly new ammunition in her fight to keep them apart. Forrest's hands shake as he reads the words, the weight of his own secrets suddenly as heavy as Sheena's. In the fallout, everyone is forced to confront who they are and what they're willing to risk for love. Forrest grows, finally stepping out from under his mother's control. But the cost is higher than he imagined. Sheena breaks, her trust shaken by the revelation. But she surprises everyone by refusing to run, determined to face the truth head-on. Laura finds her voice, setting boundaries for the first time, while Biren learns that trust is earned, not demanded. And as the dust settles, it's clear that nothing will ever be the same. If you think the past is done haunting these couples, think again. Because the final reckoning is coming, and the truth always finds a way to the surface. The apartment feels different now, quieter but heavier, as everyone tries to process what's been lost and what's been gained. Forest and Sheena sit together, hands intertwined, both changed by the storm they've weathered. There's relief in the air, but also a sadness that lingers. Forrest has finally chosen his own path. But the cost is a mother's silence and a family forever altered. Sheena's trust is bruised, but she's still here, still willing to fight for a future that feels more uncertain than ever. Across town, Laura and Biren share a quiet moment, the tension between them replaced by a fragile peace. Laura's decision to set boundaries has given her a new sense of strength, But she can't help but wonder if Michael will ever truly let go, or if his shadow will always hang over their relationship. Everyone has learned something, but not everything is resolved. Forest knows now that love means making hard choices, even when it hurts. Sheena understands that honesty is the only way forward, no matter how scary it feels. Laura has found her voice, but the echoes of doubt still linger, and Bjorn realizes that trust is a daily choice, not a guarantee. The wounds are fresh, the alliance is new, and the future wide open. Just as the dust seems to settle, a new message arrives, this time for Sheena. It's a warning from someone back home, hinting at trouble brewing that could threaten everything she and Forest have built. The screen fades to black, but the questions hang in the air. Will this new threat pull them closer together, or finally tear them apart for good? If you thought this episode was wild, wait until you see what's coming next. The secrets, the betrayals, the impossible choices. This story is far from over, and you won't want to miss a second of what happens when the past comes knocking again.